Thank you. First I'm going to talk, and then my dad will talk. What a night. Thank you so much for having us. How fun. We've learned a lot tonight. First of which is don't do an auction at a Jewish event. That's not our thing. We like everyone knowing how little we pay for shit. That's what we brag about. Look how much I paid for this cruise. 3 times the value. That's never come out of a Jew's mouth. My mom almost bought the 10-minute Skype with me just so she could talk to me. You never call. Thank you so much for this. This is a very fancy event, especially for a socialist organization. We're bordering on capitalist here, I think. There's a very large amount of Jewish mother energy in this room tonight. I've been asked by 200 women if I've had enough to eat. I have. Raise your hand if you've asked me if I've eaten today. There's 30 of you. But it really is an honor. You know this is a really big deal for my dad because he's not wearing shorts right now. Which he wears all the time. I've seen him wear shorts to a funeral, and it wasn't even cold. It made no sense. I don't win a lot of awards, and I never thought I would win one with my dad. I once won a High Times Stoner of the Year award. I think the only way I would share that with my dad is if they started recognizing people for accidentally eating their children's weed brownies, which my dad has done twice. Once with me, once with my sister, within like a month. My father has always believed in helping others. He worked at non-profits his whole life, and he really never profited. We had very I thought they don't profit. I didn't get that. Charity, it really crossed over into our day-to-day lives. My entire childhood, my parents' divorced friends were always living with us and moving in with us, and they would always let these people stay with us for years on end sometimes. And looking back, I'm really shocked at how many of your friends got divorced. Like 8 of them or something like that. One of my friends has been divorced. It's truly strange. But ultimately, these people would let us have parties and buy us alcohol, so it was a great dynamic. But when I was 16 years old, I got a job on a TV show, and I moved to Los Angeles. And my dad got a job at a place called the Workman's Circle, which was kind of shocking. Yeah, I know. It was surprising because my dad hates work, and then he got a job with the word work, like in it. And I thought, wow, that's a big commitment. I didn't know what they did. And then I found out they were for the preservation of the Yiddish language, was one of their mission statements, which was great. To me, Yiddish was just the thing my grandmother screamed at me when she wanted me to sit still. You got Schmilkes. That was always the thing. But it's amazing how there are probably more people who speak Yiddish in this room than there has been in any room since the shtetl in 1920. So that is... Get it out. Speak Yiddish to each other. You will not have a lot of chances. If you speak Yiddish, now's your time. I have a short story I was gonna tell about my dad, and it's one of my earlier memories, and kind of shows the environment in which I was raised. I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia, and there was a guy in Vancouver named Bill Vanderzam. Who was a politician, and if there's ever been an evil villain name, it's Bill Vanderzam, especially if you're a Jewish person, because Vanderzam, not who you want to run into. So I always knew Bill. I didn't know why he was bad. I just knew my dad hated Bill Vanderzam, and I knew he had a place called Fantasyland that kind of was like an amusement park, and we were not allowed to go there because Bill Vanderzam was bad. One day, there was going to be a Hanukkah ceremony in Richmond, which is the suburb outside of Vancouver, and Bill Vanderzam was going to attend the Hanukkah lighting ceremony, which made my dad pissed. And he was going to go to this, and he was going to yell at Bill Vandersam. And my mom was like, don't do this, or I don't want to go and have you yell at Bill Vandersam. And my dad was like, I'm going to do it, so that's what's going to happen. And my mom was like, if you do it, I'm going to pretend not to know who you are. And that's just how it's going to go. We went to the event. The press was there. It was a big event. As soon as Bill Vandersam took the stage, my father started screaming at him, yelling at him about all his injustices and hypocrisies, to the point that he was carried away by security. There was a lot of news cameras present, and the event was well documented, and therefore that night we all gathered around the television, wondering if maybe this would make it to the news. And we were pleasantly surprised to find that it was the first story on the news. And the reporter took the screen and explained how Bill Vandersam was at a Hanukkah lighting ceremony, and a man went wild and just would not have it and would ultimately yelled at Bill Vandersam to the point that he had to be escorted away by security. The reporter continued on to express how, although some were disturbed by the man, others in attendance were not at all bothered by the kerfuffle. And then it cut to a shot of my mom standing there pretending not to know who my dad was at all. And it taught me a valuable lesson, which is, if you believe in something, you should stand up for it and yell about it and scream about it, even if it will make you look so nuts your own life pretends not to know who you are. And that's what my dad did and will continue to do throughout his life. So please give it up for a shocking look at what I would be like in 25 years. My dad!
Things I learned a long time ago is never follow Seth Rogen. But before I begin, I would like to ask the people here who, from our perspective, made this night possible, Sandy, Dania, and Lauren, who are actually part of our lives, that really are our lives, and we would stand up. I'm going to apologize. My memory is paraplegic, and so if I don't use these notes, I have to actually use my glasses too. I can't even read them. I have to make the font so big that I'd be reading like one letter at a time. And I have to say, my wife complains. I have my glass case, which I have stapled together. But it's like the last existing glass case I can find that actually like clips onto your pocket. And she actually has a good friend who like sells optical equipment, and the good friend could not for months ever find. And so I had to staple it in order. I have one at home exactly like it, but I keep it together with duct tape. But anyway. We want to convey our sincere thank you to all the wonderful people at Workers Circle who have made this amazing event a reality. It's really quite remarkable as I stand here today. It's beyond words. And I am extremely honored and proud to be a co-recipient with my son Seth for this year's Generation to Generation Activism Award. I'm very thankful. It is especially meaningful and special for me, a great honor and a great source of pride. Can I have to move this thing? Okay. But I want you to know that I see myself as an avatar, a representative of everyone in this room who acts. I have been extremely blessed with family for sure, with friends, but also I have been blessed with a perspective and an understanding of life. A personal philosophy which has driven and guided me since I was a teenager. And I was a late bloomer, I'm sorry. I really am proud of these people who are 7 and 8 years old and doing wonderful things. I didn't even know myself as an individual until I turned 15. I was just like an extension of my mother. She used to buy clothes for me, she used to buy food. I had no idea that I actually existed in And then one day it's like, oh wow, I can actually think for myself. Anyway, I feel very blessed to have this life philosophy, which I know drives and guides everyone in this room. We all have an obligation to act, to at least try, in the words of the Bible, to be a blessing. The covenant between God and Abraham, when the Jews first started, was, you shall be a blessing. And that's what we are obligated to do, to make the lives of those we touch, as they say in the worker circle, more beautiful and better. Maybe not every day, and certainly not in every way, but we have that need to try. And fortunately, from time to time, we actually succeed to make things better. Not always, but at least sometimes. And for some in this room, the people they affect and touch are far-reaching. They are global, in fact. And for others like me, it's individual. But that is just scale. To be a blessing is not about measure, it's about intent. To be a blessing is only about how. It's not about how many. To be a blessing is what everyone in this room strives to be. To be a blessing defines who we are. And we act to be a blessing both through our own efforts, but also by working with such wonderful organizations as the Workers' Circle. I don't have too much more to say, but I want to finish with a story. As noted previously in my bio, I worked for the Workers' Circle in Los Angeles. But what's not noted was I worked with a really great guy. His name was Eric Gordon. As an aside, Eric not only wrote the definitive biography of Mark Blitzstein, and if those of you don't know who Mark Blitzstein is, are you truly socialist? I mean, Mark Blitzstein was an amazing guy. You should read the book. But he was also a co-founder of the Students for a Democratic Society, which used to be called the SDS, when he was at Tulane University. Eric was a pretty remarkable guy. Anyway, in Los Angeles, we were basically a two-person office, but we believed we had a grander purpose. So we would publish a weekly newsletter. Now, this was the time of Bush II, Bush Jr., so our articles would not only detail the many failings and evils of the Bush administration, which I have to admit have been out-eviled by the Trump administration, but we would also call for the overthrow of the government and define what we felt in great detail what was needed to make the world better and more perfect. Just as the Workers' Circle has always done and continues to do today. And again, I thank you.